Hi, and here we are again with It's Your Story. 50 women in the NOW group have volunteered to tell their story in a short Facebook Live here in the NOW group and also to the business page and YouTube as well. Their story of how they started their business, like why did they start that sort of business when they could have went and started some other kind of business? Why that particular one? And sometimes, our life stories, our life histories, what we've gone through are how our businesses are today. And that's great because it brings out that knowledge and that want to help others. So my name's Lindsay and I'm the founder and organiser for this group and also the host for It's Your Story. And today we have Pauline Lawson with us. Hello, Pauline.
Hi there.
And Pauline hails all the way from Glasgow.
Nope.
Tell me.
Midlothian, near Edinburgh.
Silly me. If anybody knows Edinburgh and Glasgow, we do like each other. We don't like each other. I'm actually neutral because I'm further down near Dunbar. But anyway. Pauline's agreed to come along here today, and Pauline's story is one I don't know, but I do know that her business is with coaching people, coaching children and teenagers, and the tools that she's got are there to help these youngsters go out into the world and be the best they are. So I'm going to ask Pauline, how did you start your business? Why did you start this business?
Well, obviously we can bounce around our life a little bit, but I think I will go back in time a little bit there but that only resonated with me later when I explored that and realised some pivotal moments probably in my childhood led to some of the things that I did, some of the things that I do now. But I think for the nearer part, I spent 20 plus years as a teacher in primary education, secondary education, but more primarily children who lived with adversity.
Oh, right.
Children who, they're in their families, maybe in the care system or poverty, all sorts of things. And obviously that triggers into their behaviours.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it leaks out in lots of different ways. We could explore that for a whole hour, but we're not going to. But it leaks out in different ways. And I always used to sit, even as a very young teacher, and think, there's something I need to explore. They're not behaving like that because they're just behaving like that. There's something upstream. And I always wanted to go upstream with their families, with their children, with the other teachers around me, and kind of think there must be something we can do differently. But obviously the education system kind of constrains you, can constrain. Yeah. It's money, time, policies, whatever. And I thought, this I'm struggling with this. So I suppose in the closer term, that's what brought me to thinking I need to still do the lovely work that I'm doing with the young people, but without the constraints around me.
Okay.
So that propelled me to think I need to help children in a different way. I need to create a business that does exactly this that I want to and wish to and try to do in school, but do it for myself. So therefore, that was the propelling moment. That was the propelling moment that brought me into this. But
how long ago was that, Pauline?
Well, that was about 5 years ago. I started doing it on a part-time basis. Right. Doing some life coaching and starting little community classes, teaching children emotional literacy, but also their parents, their families, and also other educators. I coach other educators.
It goes along the whole, everybody, that these children are with. It has an effect. So absolutely,
Yeah. But doing on that self-development journey of my own, it took me back to my childhood, and I lived. I wouldn't have said I was a person who lived with adversity or lived with any big trauma in my life. In the way that it's kind of marketed, I suppose. In some ways, it's out there, people that have lived with really big traumas that we can kind of put our finger on.
Yeah.
But I suppose we've all lived with adversity.
Mm-hmm.
Just in a busy family, probably poverty, maybe not in some of the realms that I've seen for other people, but big families, lots of mouths to feed, different time. And I had a big family, and I realised now that I look back, I had a really big emotional family, and it leaked out in lots of different ways, from the loud person to the quiet person to the crying person. Not probably any different from any other people's childhood, in a sense that you had a brother, a sister, a cousin, an auntie, an uncle who was the shouting one or the crying one or the loud one, all these different personalities. And I think as a youngster, I was a people watcher.
Okay.
I'm probably a bit of a, what I suppose some people would classically call an empath. It's not a term I'm comfortable with myself, but what people would term an empath. And I must have absorbed all these things. And I think I did. And I do remember aunties, uncles, teachers saying, "Gosh, Pauline, you're so emotional."
Oh, right.
And maybe in a negative kind of sense, like it was bad to be emotional.
Oh, that's bad.
And I think I maybe noticed that in some youngsters as I got older, and I thought, oh, they're being asked to mask an emotion. Or I suppose the emotions were good or bad. They were put into buckets of good or bad. And
That's interesting.
but you weren't allowed to show these. And I think that still stands today in some cases.
Very much. Yeah.
Maybe not in a more enlightened self-development world, but I do think it's still out there, particularly even in the education world. And that may have been where I clashed in the education world, because naughty children, naughty behaviours were bad.
Oh, yeah. It goes on their school report. I have a granddaughter who did a couple of things, and it's on her school report, bless her.
Yeah. And it could be on the wall, it could be displayed that you're naughty, bad, or had a challenging day. And I'm thinking, poor thing's just had a bad week.
Yeah.
I think from my childhood, I noticed that, and it clashed during my teaching career, because it all came to a bit of a head, a bit of a clash. And I thought, I can't do this anymore, because while I work within the education system, I'm complicit in that wheel that I was so, and I don't think my aunties, uncles, or anyone that said it meant to deliberately push you down, but in a sense, you felt you had to mask some of your feelings, your emotions, or your output of those emotions. You had to mask them and hide them.
Yeah.
So I think my two lives collided, for my childhood life in my head and my teaching career, because one, I didn't want to do it to myself, but also I didn't want to pass that on to another generation of young people.
Oh, nice. So this is how you started your business. You thought, right, I'm going to go in there, and anybody who comes to me, they're willing to learn, or their parents are wanting them to learn. And if they pick up, even if they pick up a little bit from you,
absolutely,
that's better than nothing.
Yeah. And my business is called Emotional, because I believe, one, that all emotions are welcome, and that all people have emotions.
Oh,
so it's a bit of a play on words there, but that emotion, going back to that, that auntie that would say, "Gosh, you're so emotional, Pauline," and I would think, yeah, I actually, nowadays, if someone was to say that, yeah, I am. And so you, and actually, so is everyone, because we all feel emotions all the time. And now, as a bigger, braver grown up, I can kind of challenge people on that, because I will come across people who say, "I'm not a very emotional person." I go, "Well, therefore you must be dead," because we all feel emotions.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Because I mean, if we didn't have emotions, then we wouldn't be able to enjoy something, or be able to judge, if that's the word to use, a situation. Do I go in there or not? Because you feel it, and that's emotion.
All your interpretations. You're always interpreting the world through your senses, through your beliefs, through everything. And I think, oh, well, then you must be dead. I get what people mean, because they're thinking of emotions as extreme leakage. maybe as in anger or tears or upset or loud or maybe more vivacious kind of ones. And I think, well, they're not. They could be the quiet ones. They could be the upset ones, the nervous ones. Gosh, we could go on all day. There's millions of them. But we're all feeling them all the time. What I do with young people as well, as you say, I'm often I'm strict with my language as well, because often, as you say, helping people, that is my desire. But I don't want to help people to the point where we disempower. I help people to be able to help themselves. So it's a little bit more long-winded, but it's not about the helping bit I do. It's the helping people to give them the tools so that I never need to see them again.
Yes. Pauline, that's like everything. It's like if you have your own business and you're using social media for that business, because I get a lot of people saying, but it doesn't work for me. I can't get customers. I can't get clients. And I say to them, well, what are you doing? What are you doing to get them? And they'll go, well, nothing really, but you're saying that you can give the tools to others, but it's up to them to make them work.
Absolutely. I mean, it is, and that's classic in life. And I suppose my teaching background comes into that. We can take horses to water, but I cannot make them drink. Yeah. And you can't actually be responsible for another person's emotions. Yeah. That's kind of up to them. I can help, I can give, I can provide. And at the end of the day, it's kind of up to them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's why I try to provide a bigger package, because I know myself, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and criticize my mother, my father, divorces, and that would be pointless. But I can see that well-rounded, the more people that are modeling and displaying emotions, because that's what I keep recalling from my childhood, how me and my sister had a relationship, or brother, or whoever else. And you think, I need to work with families and the whole spectrum. So I'll work with a child, but I'll also work with a family, because their mum needs to know this so that she can see it and all match up. Maybe their granny or whoever else is their significant other. So I'm handing over tools to people so that they can then function in real life.
And you also do yoga classes, don't you? This is just very quickly here, because this is something I'm very quite important. You do yoga classes for children and teenagers, and I think that's wonderful, because yoga, well, anybody who does yoga or practice yoga, just the difference. So I'm thrilled to bits that you do that.
Yeah, and yoga's always been a big part of my classes, because I teach my classes, to young people and to teenagers, and because I think they learn in a group and it normalizes it. It's like going along to karate or going along to dancing. I try to keep it in the same vibe as that. It's not because there's something wrong with you need to come. It's because everyone needs skills for life. But often it can come across like that, and I've tried to stay away from that. So yoga is a part of it, massage is a part of it, and also teaching about your brain and your emotions and how they leak and how you can leak them out in better ways and healthier ways. And it's all those in fun.
Yeah.
Keeping it fun and light. And yes, yoga is a big part of that, because the yoga philosophy, more than maybe the yoga moves, I might not be the best yogi in the world, but the yoga philosophy is the amazing thing. And for each person to come to the class and thinking, well, if she can do that, then I can do that. But it's the messages are very important, because I truly believe in proactive skills for life, skills for learning, skills for work, which I think comes from a teaching background. So I've blended very much my emotional literacy, my emotional knowledge, my emotional skills with my teaching background to create packages that
fantastic. That work. Well, thank you so much, Pauline. It's been enlightening being able to talk to you, because we've known each other for about a year, but online we've never had a proper chat like this. And it's lovely to know what you are doing out there, and I embrace that, because the world is lost. And not just with COVID, but when you're talking about emotions there, it is so important to be able to hold on to those emotions, no matter what they are, and maybe ask yourself or ask somebody, why am I feeling like this? And you're there to kind of help, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for coming along, volunteering for this.
You're
Is
welcome.
Your Story. So that's us for, I think this is episode 5. There are another 45 to go. But that's okay, because it is so interesting and it's wonderful to meet you ladies from now, actually face to face like this. So we're going to love you and leave you, and I shall be back again next week. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody, and bye for now. Bye-bye. Bye, Pauline.